Hugh Lee is the Vice President of Gamevil, head of Gamevil USA, a revolutionary and innovative mobile games company backed by unparalleled expertise in advanced mobile and network technology. Hugh has played a key role in the evolution of Korean mobile gaming and has been instrumental in introducing that innovation to the world. He graduated from Seoul National University with a BS in physics and is currently on the board of advisory at GDC Mobile. Speaking today about the 10 things every developer should know is Hugh Lee.
All right, thank you. Good morning. I'm pretty surprised that a lot of people showed up, although there were pretty late parties going on yesterday. But I appreciate it a lot anyways. So today I'm going to talk about the mobile publishing landscape, 10 things every developer should know. I think a lot of the things are things that you probably already know, but I've been meeting a lot of developers. We work with around 70 developers around the world these days. I constantly travel just to meet developers. So I thought it would be good to do a quick summary and then tell you what I've been feeling about the whole mobile publishing business. So first of all, I'll talk really briefly about Gamevil. So we were founded in the year 2000. We've been doing mobile games since 2000. We have 220 employees, 300 million installs on iOS and Android. We have offices, are headquartered in Seoul, offices in LA, Tokyo, and Beijing. We also have a developer partner fund. In 2011, we announced a 10 million partner fund that we fully spent, and then 2012 we announced another 10 million partner fund. So we've been really actively trying to invest into more companies and more projects in general. Just like the majority of you guys out here, we started out as a developer. We used to do 10 titles internally every year, and then but we've been changing our company really rapidly. And as you see, in 2012, we still did around 10 titles internally, but we started publishing more and more third-party titles. So 2012, we did 35 third-party titles, and so a total of 46 titles last year. So yeah, we work with around 70 third-party companies. They're on average, they have around, the average team size is around 10 people. These days it's getting a little bit bigger, but so by doing publishing, it's been much more easier for us to hit the market on time and also cover a lot of different type of categories that we aren't really strong at. So this brief financial, we're publicly listed in South Korea. So last year we did around $70 million in terms of revenue, 24 million in profit. This year our goal is to do around $100 million in revenue and around 30 million in profit. So yes, we were on the App Store almost from day one, and also on Google Play from day one too. So we started out as premium games, did $5 games, did all the discounts to 99-cent games, and then we tried to do a lot of multiple platforms, launched it on DSiWare, PSP Mini, and then we also tried to increase our distribution by launching through every single channel possible, and then we switched our total business model to free-to-play, and then we started doing third-party publishing, including more social hooks into the games, and then the biggest change that we've been focusing these days is games as a service. So we're putting a lot of, since we're doing a lot of third-party publishing, we're actually hiring a lot of operation experts to run games as a service. So the first question that I ask every developer is, why do you need a publisher? I think there were also a lot of talks here at Casual Connect saying that you don't need a publisher. You can do it yourself. Yeah, that's the first thing that I would recommend too. So if you could do it yourself, do it yourself. I don't think if the publisher doesn't really add value to what you're doing, we don't want free rides or free money too. We only want to take on deals where we feel like, since we're doing a 50-50 rev share, if we feel like we can add double the revenue to the developer, that's when we really want to take on the deal. If all we're doing is just submitting the game, launching the game, doing nothing, I don't think we're really adding value. A lot of the games in the past were like that, and people came to us just because we had like better relationships with Apple or Google, so they thought you might have a better chance of getting it featured. So they gave us titles in the past. We took on a lot of those type of games, and I don't think it really was meaningful for us because, and the role of the publisher is also changing really frequently, and I'm going to cover a lot of those topics in the future slides. So the first thing that I want to talk about is distribution. Distribution is getting more and more complex in general. So you have the global markets like the App Store, Google Play, and Amazon App Store. These are, by the way, these are the channels that we're only servicing right now. And then there's a lot of local markets. So there are 3 carrier stores in Korea. The carrier stores are still making significant amount of money. And then also in China, there's like thousands of portals where you can distribute your titles to. So right now, we can't do everything ourselves too. We also work with partners in China to really fully understand what's going on there. We have direct relationships with Tencent and Chiu360, so those channels will probably focus on launching it on ourselves and see what really works. And lately, the social, the messenger markets, what a lot of people say, Kakao Talk and Line and Facebook just announced something yesterday too. So I think these social markets are going to become more and more important distribution. So we spend a lot of time just talking to all of these guys, and it requires a lot of effort too. And most of the developers here, I think they're slowly starting to recognize how important Asia is. And everybody should have been following the App Annie blog, and I think there's an App Annie session right after me. But you should really look at the market in a global perspective. So the #1 market is the U.S. market, but this is March 2013, so things might have changed a little bit. But Japan is the #2 market in the world. South Korea is #3 market in the world. And China is the #5 market in the world. So Asia is a huge market, and I still see a lot of games not even localized to Korean, Japanese, or different languages. So for us, we only did English and Korean from the first place, and when we first localized to Japanese, I think we saw like a 500% increase in terms of revenue right away. And we've been localizing all of our titles to Chinese too. So we have all the top 5 countries at least covered in terms of localization with the English, Japanese, Korean, Chinese. We also are doing German, French, and Russian too. So I think it's very important to hit all of these markets. And the dynamics of all of these markets are also very different. So there are different user acquisition channels that you have to talk to if you want to gain users. You need to do events based on the local holidays there too. So having presence in all of these markets is one of the bigger values that a company like us can provide to you right away. Yeah. So, yes, I just put in this slide yesterday just because Facebook also did mobile games publishing. We're one of the first partners with them too, and it's really interesting what's going on in Asia. And I think Facebook is trying to do this because Line and Kakao is very popular in the Asian territories, and I think they might have had to compete with them in some ways too. The next thing, everybody talks about discovery all the time. Discovery is getting more and more difficult. More and more apps are published daily. I think there were a lot of burst campaigns, companies in the past, and these burst campaigns in general are becoming harder and harder to do. User acquisition costs are rising a lot if you want volume. I think you can still buy a lot of users pretty cheap, but if you really want volume, the user acquisition costs are rising. And you need a bigger, larger user base to start off with. And the other thing is that the competition is really stiff these days. So there's more players in mobile. A lot of the companies that we talk to are former console developers, former online PC gaming companies, former social companies, and now you have all of these gambling companies coming in too. So there are more players in mobile in general. They're coming with bigger budget developments. In Korea, like the bigger companies like CJ and WeMade are really dominating the charts these days. And these guys have been developing games for like at least 1 year plus. So they launch a game that's developed for like 2 years, and with huge teams, like 20 plus teams, and on one project, and they spend a lot of money. So we're going to have to compete with more of these type of companies in general. The user quality bar, of course, is rising. The phones are getting better. And then there are less and less indie success stories. It's pretty sad, but like Doodle Jump was one of my favorite games, but I don't think these type of games will be successful anymore, unless it really comes out with an innovative type of gameplay. But the good thing is that there are more publishers available, too. So the first round of acquisitions are over, so I think there's, in general, less VC money is coming into this money, into the space right now because there aren't big cash out opportunities. So I think it's more and more smaller investors, and it's actually more and more publishers doing the investment themselves. So yeah, and the messenger platforms itself, like Kakao and Line, are publishers in some sense too. So yeah, we saw the DNA, Engimoko, Funzio, Greedeal, Nexon Gloop Steel. All of these games were like hundreds of millions of dollars, and I think the venture capitalists look at this, when they look at the space, they feel like there's not a lot of multi-hundred-million-dollar opportunities left for now. So I think that's why the first round of the acquisition is over. But it's not that the amount of deals are decreasing. There's actually a lot of smaller amount of deals happening around the world, especially in Asia, Korea to China. Companies are spending a lot of money funding into mobile game developers in general. So yes, Gamevil is also one of the publishers, but if I could tell you a little bit more about the Korean market, but all of these online gaming companies are actively doing publishing, like CJ, WeMade, NeoWiz, NHN. I think all of these companies are doing publishing, and they have at least like hundreds of millions of dollars in their banks. So that's one of the reasons why we started doing capital. We did a capital increase recently, and we raised $60 million from the public market. But it was because we've been competing with these guys to win developers' hearts. And as I mentioned before, local presence is becoming more and more important. The top apps are really different in Korea, and the user user acquisition channels are different. Localization is a must. There are larger local social networks around. And then local live operation is becoming more and more important. So this is, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows about Kakao, but Kakao has almost around 100 million users. And the interesting thing is their daily active is around 30 million. So with 30 million, it's really easy for them to control any type of traffic to a certain game. So Kakao's been doing an awesome job in Korea, launching a lot of these games. And if you look at the top charts in Korea, the left side is the iOS chart, and the right side is the Android side. Every game in the top 10, Korea is a 90% Android penetrated country, by the way. And every game in the top 10 on Android is on the Kakao platform. So, and I don't think a lot of developers out here in the Western market understand that. And we don't want to give we don't want to work on Kakao too if we have the option, but I don't think it's an option anymore. Just like here in the U.S., if you need Facebook Connect in order to make your game social. If you're launching a game in Korea that has social elements, you need Kakao. Line is the biggest social network in Japan. It started out from Japan, but biggest social network in Southeast Asia. And I think recently their penetration in South America has been growing pretty rapidly too. They have 200 million subscribers, and as you see, like their jump from 150 to 200 just happened in 3 months. So they gained 50 million users in 3 months. So it's really rapidly growing. They're doing a really aggressive push around the world, and so if you look at the charts in Japan, they have at least 4 games in the top 10. If you look at the right side, this is the Android chart. They have 5 apps in the top 10. And so the market, what I want to say is that the market dynamics are very different in countries, especially like Korea, China, and Japan. And it's really important for all of the developers to be up to date with what's happening in those territories. And you have to do something specific for those markets in order to become successful. So I think live operations is becoming very critical, and this is the part where we're investing the most amount of our resources. We've been restructuring our company a lot. We started out doing games, just mobile games, and we were good at making our own babies, but we weren't really good at taking other people's babies. And so we hired a lot of people who are specialized in doing that. And I think more and more games are being updated constantly. So before, like, I thought we were doing a good job if we were updating the game like once a month or even like once every quarter. I think it wasn't a bad job if it was a major update. But nowadays, I think daily events are really important. So you got to have like something going on every day in order to make it meaningful for the users and to retain those users. And so we've been hiring a lot of people. This costs us a lot, even as a publisher, and we've been hiring a lot of people just to do this. Monetization techniques are improving significantly. I think one of the benefits with working with a publisher is that we've seen a lot of games. We've actually also seen which monetization techniques work and which ones don't work. So if we get a good idea from one developer, we ask the other developers to try these things out. So it's been working by working with a publisher. I think this is one of the important things that you can get. In Korea, every game is looking more and more similar these days. We call it the Monetization Bible or something. I think every game has promotional events. Every game has competition aspects, cooperation aspects. Every game has progression. Every game has gacha systems in it. Every game has avatar, and then you also have a pet system. You also have pet systems, just because you want the avatar just isn't enough. Every game has collection aspects to it, and then every game has alternative game modes. It's not only one game mode that you have for each game. So I was just bringing up an example of Korea, but anyways, I think these monetization techniques are very important, and at one point, if you have a chance, you should check out a lot of the games on Kakao today. Okay. So what I also tell the developer is that more concentration is required in general. So I want every developer to concentrate their resources more and more, because yeah, this is top publishers by monthly game revenue, June 2013. Yeah, Supercell only needed 2 titles to be #1. King also only needed 3 titles to be #2. Gong only had 11 titles, but it's mainly 1 title to be #3, right? And Electronic Arts had 829 titles, and Gree had 121 titles. So I don't think quantity is important. I think for that same reason, publishers are also becoming more and more pickier too. And in order to win and succeed, you need bigger teams to succeed. So this is Gamevil. We used to be a top company in Korea. We're not the top company anymore. We have like six games in the top 100. Ranked number 16, 25, 34, 39, 53, 61. It's not even doing as good as Cookie Run for Kakao, which is #3 app in Korea. The CEO is actually here, so you should say hi to him too. But anyways, so we've also been looking at this problem seriously, because like we're publishing a lot of titles. They're making meaningful amount of revenue to us, but we've been also consolidating our own teams. So if we were doing 10 titles a year, we're trying to do 5 titles a year and consolidate 2 teams into 1. And that's the same thing that I asked the developers to do, because most of the developers that we work with, they have around 15 people, but they have at least 3 projects going on at the same time. I don't think that's a good way to succeed anymore, because the competition is so much stiffer. I've been telling everybody, every developer that we work with, let's just stagger all the launches and concentrate on 1 title at a time, instead of doing multiple titles at a time, because it's not worth it, you know? 6 titles in the top 100 looks fancy, but it's not as meaningful as 1 title in the top 5. So yes, and so the roles of the publishers are evolving. This is a quick snapshot of our USA organization, just because all we do is live operations. So we have we've been hiring more and more producers. We already have 4 full-time producers, and then we have localization team. We have community management teams. We also have graphic designers and software engineers, user acquisition, public relations. So it's not doing a publishing also isn't like cheap too. Like we're putting a lot into helping out the developers. Our headcount in the U.S. grew from 8 to 16 within a year. I think by the end of this year, we might be getting close to 25 or 30. So just because of the live operation aspect, we're just not doing launching anymore. I think more and more resources are required even on the publisher side. And I think there is definitely a value add coming from those resources. So yes, and I think it's pretty similar to the concentration issue, but there's more to share in general. You know, Puzzle and Dragon, they just recently announced that they're making $4.9 million a day. So I think it's much more awesome to make one of these games, although it might be combined effort between the developer and the publisher. But I think it's much more better to do these type of games instead of doing a lot of mediocre titles. So thank you very much. This is the summary of the 10 things, and so I'm open to questions.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions, so if you don't mind, can you take those outside or to the back? And
So
I apologize to that, and I apologize to the audience as well.
Okay.
We're just running very late.
Okay.
Thank you so much.